badge or anything. But everyone's here tonight to interview applicants for the new trustee position that was vacated by Jesse. It was effective on August 29th. On August 11th, the board declared her position vacant and began accepting letters of interest for her open position. We received 6 letters of interest. One has decided to drop out of the race, so there will be 5 interviews tonight. And the following individuals will be interviewed and considered for appointment to the vacant position until May 2026.
Typo.
Yeah, I got you.
Sorry.
Jordan was listed twice, but from 6:05 to 6:25, we start with Samantha Baker, 6:30 to 6:50, Marie Boster, 6:55 to 7:15, Jordan Cron, 7:20 to 7:40, Callie Morrison, 7:45 to 8:05, Stephen Mueller, and Ali Stamatz was our last applicant who withdrew her application. So that's it. Oh, do we have any public comment before we proceed on a non-agenda item? Hearing none, and seeing that it's 6:04. Samantha, would you like to mosey to the front seat, please? Mind us starting a minute early?
Not at all.
So I think what we should probably do is just go around the table here and give each of us a brief introduction. Just say how long we've been on the board. And then once we give you that, we'll kick off the interview process. Frank?
Frank Spock, I've been on the board for 8 years, and this is my 8th year. Wow.
I'm Joanne Nordhagen, and this is my 2nd year on the board.
Whatever, I'm the last.
Paul Perzay, and been on the board for a few months now.
Louderbeard, 3 months.
Robbie Smith. I did 1 year for replacement. And as you're looking to do, and then more years.
And I'm Steve, I've been on the board 7 years, and I just wanted to say, like, be forthcoming and honest about your answers and your opinions. It'll help us make the right decision for who to fill this vacancy. I'll just read the questions out. And like I said, be honest and let it rip. Question number 1, tell us about yourself, including your connection to the district and what you do for a living.
Good afternoon. So I'm Samantha Baker. I moved to Bozeman originally 8 years ago. My husband and I bought a house in Belgrade. It'll be 4 years next month. And my son goes to Ridgeview in Belgrade School District. I started volunteering with his school as soon as he got there. I think it's very important that parents, yes, but also just community members in general take a vested interest in our young people. They're literally gonna be doing what we do now. So making sure that they've got all the tools and resources that they have is really important to me. When I was in university, I took as many minors as they would allow me to. And so I have a broad range of interests. And so whenever I can, share that information with littles, I get really excited about it. They're always, just curious to learn. And I think that's something that I can relate to with students somewhat more than, my peers as adults, but there's still hope. I am a stay-at-home mom with my son, and I volunteer in the community. So again, like I said, I volunteer at the school district. And then I'm also involved in a number of nonprofits in Bozeman and here in Belgrade, mostly for moms and families. In addition to, I have a band that I do as kind of like a hobby that's not really a job. So.
Okay. I forgot to mention, I'll let you know when there's 10 minutes left in case we need to hurry. And if any trustee would like to ask a follow-up question to any question, that's fine, but I need you to know that we have to ask that to every candidate going forward. So just keep that in mind. Number 2, why are you interested in being a trustee?
I have a lot of respect for what our community does in relation to our public school system. Our teachers are awesome. Our admin tries really hard to make sure that we have everything that we need to get, education done for kids in our community. And one of the things that I personally benefited from was an active engagement from the adults in my life. And so if I can push that forward, granted I have a vested interest. My son, he's a very curious kid and he wants to learn as much as he can. And so making sure that he's got the resources, kind of like I said, gives me a vested interest. But I also know that, there's a lot of kids in our community that I run into through my interactions with him, where I see them not necessarily getting the resources that they need through, no fault of their parents, our community, but I know we can do better. We are facing, economic and social upheavals, but that doesn't give us the excuse to just sit back and say, wash your hands of it. So however I can put my passions and knowledge forth to help, I want to do.
Thank you. Number 3, what qualities do you have that would make you an effective board member?
So before I was a stay-at-home mom, I worked in a number of industries, including administration, medical, and office administration. And so I have, and customer service related to that. So I have a lot of experience in working directly with, the public, in working with finances. I did accounting for a real estate firm. And so I'm familiar with like just the aspects of what, how businesses run. And granted, the school district isn't really a business, but I also have experience through my nonprofit work in seeing how organizations are run. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things that, as an individual, you're responsible for talking to a lot of different people. We see what you guys do, and it's not just admin and teachers and students, it's the public. And so I think having a lot of experience working with people who have opinions about, like, for example, I'll use my experience in the medical field, when these people are very interested in the outcomes that they want to have, to the point where they don't care about what's happening to other people, they care about what's happening to themselves. And I'll use that example for my kid. I want to make sure that my kid is being taken care of. And so I might not necessarily care what's happening at the high school because my child is at the elementary school. And I think because I am able to look at a broader view, having been in those industries, I can say, yes, that's important, and I want to take your thoughts and ideas into account. But we're also looking at the broader picture of not just what your individual interest is, but in the interests of the school district as a whole.
Just like people write some notes. Ready. Number 4, what do you think is the biggest issue facing our district this year and over the next 5 years?
So full disclosure, I did run for the last election, and I think my answer hasn't really changed from what, I talked about while, I was campaigning. I think we've got a multi-pronged issue with, financial and I'll say for broad strokes, societal issues facing us and our kids. Money is always going to be a problem. It's been a problem since the beginning of somebody not wanting to let go of the purse strings. But we have an obligation to our kids to make sure that they have the resources that they need to learn how to be good citizens. And I think that while that's always going to be a problem, it's easy to kind of use that as, the blanket answer, the blanket statement of the challenges that face school districts and schools and even individual classrooms. But I will say that recently, it's been brought to my attention that we also have kind of a social issue in our schools. Bullying is a big issue. I've heard a lot of individuals from the public come forward to me, and also in the meetings that I've seen from, public record, saying that, bullying is a big issue. And having now seen that directly in like the classroom, on the playgrounds, in schools, I think that we have an issue with making sure that we're not just teaching kids the facts, but we're also teaching them how to be good citizens. Anyone, using resources can learn to read and write and do math, but do you know how to be kind? Do you know how to be respectful? Do you know how to be an engaged citizen in our classrooms that will then translate to an engaged citizen in our world? And I think that there's a lot of challenges that are being faced by our teachers, by our admin, even just our students as well. And so I think that finding a way to, answer the problems of finances will always be, a hard and easy question. But I think staying with the original goal, which was to make even on your guys' website, it says to make sure that the students come first and that their development, not just education, is important. I think that that's, especially in the times right now we have where it's kind of not nice outside. I think that kind of regrounding into that and making sure that we can cultivate that in our students, I think is very important.
Question number 5, what do you know about us as a board?
So I know a little bit about you guys as a board. One of my hobbies that I do is I'm in the Bozeman Symphony Orchestra, and they are on Wednesday nights as well. So I haven't been able to attend a lot of meetings in the past, but I have read your minutes and I've watched recordings when when I have been able to. I will say that I think the board does a really great job of disseminating the information that they have available to them. It has never been difficult for me to be able to reach out to any of you. It's never been difficult for me to be able to, when I have a question about any agendas that have been brought up, to look up and find that information, and then also reach out to this district and ask any of the admin for further clarification. I will say that it's been really gratifying to see how invested you all are. A lot of times, you know, we don't say that the people seeking power should have power for a reason. But I will say that it's been nice to see, you know, a commitment to our community as a whole and not a lot of personal agendas being pushed on the board. I think that's, you know, what ultimately has made me feel comfortable stepping forward to say, like, I would be comfortable and would want to be a part of something like this. Because I think that's very important to make sure that, you know, while you guys are all running, or, you know, everyone behind me, while we're all running as, you know, potential candidates, we're also have an obligation to not just say our own views, but to speak up for the community as a whole. And so it's been very nice to see that you guys have been upholding that.
Just letting Frank finish. Number 6, how much time do you have to contribute?
So again, I am very blessed. I've got the flexibility of being a stay-at-home mom, so I do have a lot of spare time to put towards to the things that, you know, I sign up for and dedicate myself to. I will say that, you know, between the symphony season starting up and beginning of school, I was a little hesitant to step forward, but I think that this is important. And I think that, you know, finding time and dedicating time to make sure that, you know, the things that need to be done for our schools are done right and are done thoughtfully is important. So making the time for that would not be difficult.
Good. Number 7, have you previously involved yourself in the Belgrade School District and Belgrade community?
Again, like I mentioned, I have been very blessed that Ridgeview has been so welcoming to me as a volunteer. I have volunteered through the office, you know, through my son's class directly, and also additionally other teachers' classes. I am constantly blown away by the dedication of the teachers to just teaching their kids and sharing information. My son, when he was in kindergarten, was in Miss Morgan's class, and I, you know, quote, took over her class one day and taught them all about solar eclipses. And I had other teachers from other classes asking me if I could also do that. And so I think it's really easy to kind of think of, you know, just dropping our kids off at school and being like, okay, see you in a couple hours. But, you know, if you can be engaged, there are so many opportunities to do so. And I have been, you know, I feel so blessed and so like humbled by them, because those kids are such good kids and they want to learn things. They want to know what's going on around them. And just seeing an adult that doesn't really have anything to do with them take an interest in them is always, I mean, it's really nice to know that I'm not alone in that, because some of the other volunteers that do that as well. And knowing that there is a place for people like me who want to be involved, the admin makes that very easy to, you know, take on little projects, like I'll say. I've also done some work with the other elementary schools in Belgrade School District. We last year had some issues with a lot of the Latino families not being able to understand English. And when we did the you know, tree present giving, they couldn't participate. And so I helped write basically a form for them to be able to use so they could sign their kids up for Christmas presents. And that was really great. I helped volunteer over at the location for pickups too. And it's just so nice to see that when there is a need and a space in our school district, that people are on it. They've tried to find the people who will help solve the problems that we have. And I'm just so grateful that when those problems do come up, that I have the ability to, you know, put my energy forth and help solve those problems.
And the last question, do you have any questions for us?
I guess I would say if there's any advice you would have for, I guess, Rock, who'd be a good one to pick your brain for, and Joanne as well, since I know you took over from somebody who was leaving. You know, what would you say to somebody who hasn't done this position before in order for them to succeed as they, come in halfway?
Yeah, for me, I'd say, obviously you want to be true to yourself. You have, my experience was, and I'm sure these two would be telling something similar. You've got a learning curve to go through, so it takes a little bit of time to kind of understand how the board works. And, you need to ask a lot of questions. At times it seems like you're asking a lot of dumb stuff.
You're not.
It's the only way to kind of get your feet on the ground to see, what's what here, and there are some specific approaches that you have to take, so it's important to do that.
I think similarly, just when you get your foot in the door, especially taking over a position, is making space for yourself, understanding, your spot on the board, but also, other people and how to best collaborate in your new role, because you are taking over for somebody else. So sort of making your space on the board is it's tough because you're trying to learn the board, procedures and making sure like you understand the business procedures, and then also making your space on the board. So those are kind of the, out of the frying pan into the fire pit, the initial things, but then you get the hang of it, And you mentioned it, we are lucky that this board is very collaborative. So we really try to discuss things the best we can and be reasonable about every approach.
Y'all not leaving anybody out to drown kind of thing.
I think so. Not yet.
We're trying to be a little more functional than compass.
Goal, what a goal.
I think that wraps up for you, Samantha. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you coming in. And this is an open meeting. You're welcome to stay till the end if you'd like. So our next interview begins at 6:30.
Hey, I like the adults and problem.
Yeah, we did, but it could be ahead of schedule.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
I guess we can leave it up to Marie if you'd like to begin. What do you think, Ward? Should we continue going on through?
I'm with mashing the gas.
All right. So I don't know. You want us to read you our introductions, Marie? Or did you catch those the last time? But in all fairness, I'll tell everybody, be forthcoming and honest about your answers. And what you believe in and what you feel. That'll help us make the right decision.
Right.
Give me 1 second here to start the timer. I apologize when you guys see me checking my phone. I'm trying to keep track of a lot.
No problem.
All right, let's let it rip. Everybody got their form ready? Marie, tell us about yourself, including your connection to the district and what you do for a living.
Okay, I've had 20 years experience with homeschooling K-12 through at least have experience through 6 different public school charters and have had dealings with at least 7 districts. Some of my children did a combination of traditional and some did charter and some, because it's not a one size fits all. At one of the charters, I served as a parent liaison for 1 semester. My job was to be the voice of the parents at the school meetings. I have gone to school for psychology, computer science, music. Didn't get a degree, but I did. I taught Taekwondo for 15 years as head instructor and school owner. I served as a scout leader for 14 years. My positions included pack trainer, den leader, K-5, Cub master, committee member, pack trip and crew, merit badge counselor, and assistant scoutmaster. I have multiple connections in the district. My children attend Belgrade schools and my husband is the IT director. I interviewed for this position last year and ran at the last election and received 1,772 votes. And I'm staying.
You can,
Are you still teaching Taekwondo or did I misunderstand that?
I am not currently because that was before I moved here.
Okay, I wasn't sure, I just was
I mean, I can still teach it, but I'm not.
not current. Okay, that's what I was interested in. Thank you kindly for clarifying that.
In the past couple of summers, I have taught my son, summer school to help pick up things that he's, needs for school.
Question number 2, why are you interested in being a trustee?
I believe that schools should come alongside of families and support them by providing a quality education. I will help to increase communication between school staff, teachers, and parents. I will defend the rights of students to receive quality education without compromising their safety or beliefs. I will work with school officials to provide a safe learning environment for all students, teachers, and staff. I would also like to see more money going toward the education of the students and cut out wasteful spending.
But, oh, you're just fine. If anybody needs me to slow down, let me know. Number 3, what qualities do you have that will make you an effective board member?
Okay, I am a parent and a homeschool educator with experience in multiple schools, districts, and organizations. I am a good listener. I listen to and look at all sides of the situation before making a decision. I believe in doing what is best for our students and district to ensure Belgrade schools improve and become the best in the valley. Oh, and I also have customer service experience when I was out of high school.
What do you think is the biggest issue facing our district this year and over the next 5 years?
And I think one of the biggest problems is student, teacher, and staff retention. We need to do an exit survey to find out why they're leaving, if we're not already doing that. I will work with the board and others to evaluate why this is happening and what can be done about it. This brings me to another big problem in our district, bullying and teasing, especially in the middle school. This is happening with both students and teachers. I know of 2 teachers in the past who have said that they were leaving because of the students, one because of a particular class. I also heard of a student bullying a teacher last year. Neither students nor teachers are going to stay under these conditions. Imagine, if you will, a clean, smooth piece of paper. This smooth piece of paper is the students that come to us, or it could be a teacher or a staff member. Once the teasing, heckling, and bullying start, the paper gets folded, crumpled, and stomped on. Now, imagine trying to straighten out that paper. It is hard to smooth out, and it is dirty in some places. The creases run so deep that you will never be able to get them out. They are there forever. This is what is happening to some of our students and staff. They are now scarred, and we have allowed this to happen. It is truly heartbreaking to have a child come home from school and tell you that they wonder if there will ever be a day that they are not bullied. Teachers will not stay if the students and staff don't respect them. No amount of money is worth being bullied or talked down to. We need to assure that our schools are safe for everybody. We could also use better communication in our district between teachers, parents, and staff. For instance, I have had trouble finding who knows what is going on when I show up to volunteer for an event. I get sent from person to person or just told that they don't know. It is rather disjointed. Better communication amongst organizers and teachers would prevent this, and parents will not get discouraged from volunteering. And then we need better communication to the parents when we send out opt-out emails to ensure that they make informed decisions. The teacher should clarify exactly what is being taught. The email is a form letter required by law to cover multiple contents. Not all classes will teach the listed content, others may. It is confusing to the parents and they may get the wrong idea as to what their children are being taught. Then the school admin and the teacher needs to honor the parent's decision and have an appropriate alternate assignment ready. And in 5 years from now, if we are doing our job right, we will see growth and the need for expansion. I would love to see a charter school that can help us with that growth and give parents more choice for their children and while keeping them here in Belgrade. If we continue down the track that we are on, I see little growth. Parents will take their kids elsewhere and staff will continue to leave. The behavioral issues will worsen and we can mirror California and other states where the students are out of control.
Okay. Question number 5, what do you know about us as a board?
Okay, the local school board and their members are at the core of how education runs in our community. You have to make the tough decisions based on what resources you have available. Your mission statement is to encourage all students to reach their potential while preparing them to become productive members of society. And you value leadership, student learning, community engagement, and teamwork.
Question number 6, how much time do you have to contribute?
Since I'm a stay-at-home mom, I am able to devote whatever time is needed.
Question number 7, how have you previously involved yourself in the Belgrade School District and Belgrade community?
I have chaperoned on several class field trips, counted money for the music calendar fundraiser, and helped teach students on career day. And also it is hard to know what the volunteer opportunities are. I would love to see better communication to the parents, letting them know what is going on in the schools and the district and how they can get involved. Now, I understand elementary is probably easier because usually the teachers need more help there. Middle school and high school is a little harder.
And our last question, number 8, do you have any questions for us?
No, I don't. Let's see. I did want to say that, I think the new school is a good idea, and that I commend y'all for that. I think that once we get the 5th grade out of the middle school, that will help with our bullying problem. So I just want to commend y'all for that. I know, I followed the bond issue, and I noticed how you pivoted from that to the land swap. That was a good idea. And I applaud your plans to standardize the classrooms for technology, giving all the kids the same opportunity, regardless of which school they're in. No, that's all I have to say.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming by again, Marie.
All right, thank you, and have a good evening.
You too.
You said you've been here before. I know that feeling. Right, Joanne?
Yeah.
So we have Jordan up next. I don't think he's here, is he?
He might be out there. I think we're gonna go look. Oh, I think. Thank you.
Work, okay. About 20, 15 minutes.
6:55.
20 minutes, yeah.
You only got 5 minutes.
Let's give him like 5 minutes.
You want me to try it?
Do you have this one?
Well, it's on this.
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah.
It'd be like just sort of time, but.
Yeah.
Could be stuck by the train.
My excuse.
You could be anywhere.
Hello, Jordan. Hey, this is Paul with Belgrade Schools. I'm the trustee here. I'm all right. We're running a little early. Are you in the area? Would you be okay if we adjust the order and bring up another candidate and we'll get here, we'll interview you?
I'll probably start that and then you can have or something.
Well, right now, I mean, we're running 20 minutes early. But if we bring, we could just bring the next person up and then interview you. Okay, that works. We'll see you shortly. All right, thanks. So he says he's good with that, so.
All right. Callie, are you good to proceed?
Sure.
All right.
Good job. My change, you have my house for dinner. That was always the solution.
1 second, maybe set that timer.
My sister kicked me for that.
Thanks for being flexible. All right, everybody ready? All right, Kelly. I'll repeat myself again, 5 times. Be honest and forthcoming, that'll help us make the best decision. We'll let you know when we get close to the end, but if you have any questions we have, and it seems like we're cruising along, so I think we're gonna be fine.
Yep.
Without further ado, number 1, tell us about yourself, including your connection to the district and what you do for a living.
All right, so I am Callie Morrison. I am the Senior Director of Workforce Education Strategy at Assist by Bright Horizons, which is a long way to say we help corporations run their education benefit programs where they pay for their employees to go to college or other workforce training that will help them in their current job or a future job. I've been in the community for 20 years. In the Belgrade community for 20 years, as in Bozeman for a few years before that. And I came from Kentucky before that. Let's see, my connection to the district, I have 2 kids in district. I have a middle schooler, a 6th grader and a 9th grader, a freshman this year. So making our way, they've gone to Belgrade schools the entire time. So, and I've on the volunteer side, I've done, the field trips and PTC events or PTK, depending on which one you're at college. I've been involved now with the soccer team, as my daughter is playing soccer, and in the community, I also run a giving circle through the One Valley Community Foundation, which is an opportunity for our giving to have a bigger impact than it could alone. So we all contribute, anyone who comes contributes to the fund, and then it gets distributed to the nonprofits, and it's for the entire Gallatin Valley. So we have benefited the Belgrade Community Coalition. We're actually talking with Belgrade Library right now about whether we could be, whether they would be interested in being a beneficiary or not. So, and before that, when I was still, I guess I was in Belgrade then, I was on the board of Thrive in Bozeman, so I think that's it.
Could you repeat your job title again? You went through it so fast I couldn't catch it.
It's a mouthful. Senior Director of Workforce Education Strategy. Which basically means I study workforce and labor trends across the nation. And actually, I just got to do a big global project, which was really fun, looking at what demand is for education and further careers across the globe. So with some of our global clients. Yeah, I found some new favorite vacation spots because of that.
Question number 2, why are you interested in being a trustee?
I see it as a new opportunity to be involved in a school district and to bring, I guess I didn't say this before, I have over 20 years in higher education or higher education related, workforce education related areas. I have been a faculty member, I've been a dean, I've been a Greek advisor, which is a whole other level of interesting. And so I'm interested in bringing some of that perspective and that workforce education perspective to the board. What is it that our students are gonna need? And then I also, you all saw me a lot last year in advocating for things as I became aware of them, right? So I will say during my working and going to school and raising kids, I didn't have the time to be involved in our community. After I graduated, I did, but not in our school district as much as I would have liked. So really it's just to bring outside knowledge that I have that I can bring into this community.
Question number 3, what qualities do you have that will make you an effective board member?
I'm infinitely curious. I really like to learn. And so one, passing that on to others around me is super important to me. And then two, I have a research bug. So like I will go down rabbit holes and find resources to support arguments either way. But I'm also open to researching the counterpoint to what I might think is the right thing to do. So I bring that research quality and then collaboration. That's really, I think, important for a group like this, especially when we all bring our own opinions and lived experiences. And then the effects that will have on our kids. So if we can't get along, how can we expect them to get along?
Question number 4, what do you think is the biggest issue facing our district this year and over the next 5 years?
I think, in my opinion, the biggest issue facing us is actually the knowledge of our voters. I feel like we have an issue where people aren't understanding what it is that we're asking them to vote for and to pay for with their tax dollars. And so they're not voting for it. We also have a voter turnout issue, which isn't necessarily in the purview of this board, but it does affect what we can do, because if voters don't turn out and they don't know what they're voting for, then we don't get the funds that we need. We don't get the, or any other resources, changes we need to make. We need the community to understand that. So I think that has both short-term and long-term effects. Also, our community is changing. And I think that too has both short-term and long-term effects. We've grown a lot in the last several years, and I don't anticipate that stopping right now. With the number of new homes and new living units that are going in, I think that we'll continue to have stress on our system. So those two things are interrelated by helping people who come in from other places understand what it means here, because that means something different in other states. So the things that we're asking for, levies, bonds, tax increases. So helping them understand that helps us do the work that supports the kids.
Question number 5, what do you know about us as a board?
You guys take the time to listen to parents and students. And I, from what I have seen, teachers. Now, I don't always see them here when I'm here, but I do appreciate that you guys have had open door sounds weird in 2025, but open door policies, right? Where we can pop in your email or leave a message, give a call and get a response. I think that's really important. So that openness is what I know about you all, and I appreciate that. And the smoke is really affecting me, so I'm gonna get smaller.
No problem. We're about half done. Wish your time is half done. Question number 6, how much time do you have to contribute?
That is the one thing that I will be super honest and say, I don't know. I will make a commitment to meeting what I need to. And I have flexibility in, if I do have flexibility in my job, I have the support of my leadership to, pursue this. In addition, obviously, to my full-time role. But I'll be honest, I'm not a stay-at-home. I don't have all of that time. So, that is something that I'll have to move things around. It comes down to how much, not how much time do you have, but how much priority do you put on this, contribution to the community, and I would put a priority on it, so. If you come over to my house, please excuse the just buttons.
And it's doable.
Yeah.
Question number 7, how have you previously involved yourself in the Belgrade School District and Belgrade community?
I thought that was in the first question. So, as being a parent volunteer primarily, and working with PTKs, and then showing up and asking questions. Here at the board meetings, yeah. And in other forums as well.
And question number 8, our final question, do you have any questions for us?
So the only question I had was, what is have you guys had your planning yet? What is your top priority for the year?
I'm not sure we can really say that.
Okay,
It wouldn't be fair to the other stuff.
Yeah.
And it's always in flux.
that's a good answer.
Which depends on which name.
Yeah. All right,
I'll say that I think the biggest thing we got coming up is, of course, this, fourth school bond issue, but that being said, it's how to focus on that without dropping all the other things.
yeah. That's a good answer.
Okay, any other questions? Are you good?
No, good.
All right, appreciate
Thanks,
your time. Thanks for jumping in ahead of time.
Oh, of course.
Jordan, we'll get to you here in a sec. Sorry, I'm going fast today. And Steve Mueller, Steven, would you like to step up now? Are you ready? Sure. Give me one moment here. So while everybody's filling this out. Thank you. Were you present when we introduced ourselves? I can't recall.
I'm sorry?
Were you present when we introduced ourselves?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, just as a reminder, be honest and forthcoming. Let us know what you think. I believe everybody's ready. So question number one. Tell us about yourself, including your connection to the district and what you do for a living.
My wife and I moved to Belgrade and actually chose Belgrade as our new home 5 years ago, after having lived our entire lives in Rhode Island. So having moved down the street a piece, we've been here for 5 years. What permitted us to do that was we retired. So I've completed a 46-year career as a faculty member at the School of Social Work at Rhode Island College. That followed 7 years working in public child welfare, with abused and neglected kids. In addition to that, I ran a small consulting practice, working primarily with school districts around strategic planning and HR issues. In my spare time, I was convinced to run for the school board in my community and got elected. Frankly, I thought I knew what I was getting into and I had no clue. So 26 years later, I left the school board. It was frankly the best part of my life in Rhode Island. And there were some very unpleasant moments along the way. But overall, it was a wonderful experience. It was in part wonderful because the school board was so successful. In a moment, you're going to ask me about what's the biggest issue, and let me address that now. I see you frankly struggling with finances. That's an issue for every school board in the country. You have a bond issue that you need to get passed. I came out of a school district which had many of the same issues that you face. You have an active student population. You've had an in-migration, so your population has gone up. When the population goes up, financing is always a lagging indicator. And sometimes it lags enough so that there's not enough money to run the program that you need to run. So right now, I see the issue here being primarily financing. Financing never fixes anything, but it allows you to begin to try to fix things. And in my district, we went through a period of rapid population growth. We had 8 years in a row where we had to go to the taxpayers and ask for more money than the town council had allocated us. It was a challenging time. I'm very proud to say for 8 years in a row, the community stepped up and gave us more money than the town council wanted to give us. That took a lot of work, and a lot of what we spent time on was the engagement with the community. And so when you think about what do you need to be able to do as a school board person, in my mind, the critical ingredient is the ability to listen and to build relationships with the community, but with individuals in the community. That's what brings them out and allows them to say, take more money out of my pocket. That's a hard thing to convince people to say, particularly in difficult times. Today, people look ahead to the economy, and anybody who thinks that everything's going to be wonderful isn't looking carefully enough. They ought to be concerned about money. And so the critical issue for us was convincing people that we were listening to them, that we understood what the issues were that they were most concerned about, and that we were good stewards of the money they gave us. So we came out of issues that are very similar to the ones that are being faced here. The community is lucky to have all of you. I mean, being a school board member is not an easy job, but it is a job. And when I look at you as a school board, in my consulting practice, I worked with, nobody ever called me when they were successful. I never talked to anybody who said, we're doing great, come on in and help us out. And it really was, I often got a call from the State Association of School Committees saying, you need to be down the road and helping those folks out. This community is lucky to have you. Because as I see you, you are a strong school board. And I don't see the dysfunction that I saw in so many school boards. I don't see individuals who are about their own agenda and not listening. And that puts you on the right path. One of the truths about school boards is even when you're on the right path, you're never going to get to the end of the path. And there will be people shooting at you along with you. It's part of the fun. So out of my experience, the 26 years on a school board, I also had the luxury of, I was elected as one of the two people representing all of the school boards in New England. A little bit bigger area than New England, but essentially New England. On the board of directors for the National School Board Association. I did that for 9 years and then timed out of that position. That gave me a perspective on what was going on in public education nationally that I had no clue about before I got on that board. So in the end of your questions, you're going to say, so why do you want to do this? Frankly, I'm retired. I believe in public education. The core of public education is at the community level. And what we know from the research about what school boards can do to ensure good student outcomes is partnering with superintendents. When school boards support superintendents, no surprises at meetings, no bad talking in the community. When those things happen, kids are advantaged. It's the basis on which you are able to move public education forward. That statement comes out of about 10 years of research, some of which was conducted here in Montana. And the fact of the matter is you have a very strong state association of school boards. And they were well represented in the work that we did on the board of the National School Boards Association. So I've had 26 years in public education and I'm retired and I'm sitting in the town of Belgrade, and I believe that you ought to give back to your community. And this is stuff I know I can do. And so I come tonight to offer myself to the work that you're doing. Now let's see, yes, the second question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let everybody catch up on some notes. I will ask the questions as a matter of procedure. Everybody good? Question number 2, why are you interested in being a trustee?
as I said, I really, you have some challenging and interesting issues that you're dealing with. I know a little bit about how to do that successfully based on my experience in a different community. I believe that part of being adopted by a community, which is essentially what's happened to me, is that you ought to give back. And frankly, I like being on a school board. It's a good way to spend time. It may be a little bit masochistic, but nonetheless, it is, for me, intellectually challenging and skill challenging. So I would look forward to working with all of you.
As a matter of procedure, we've used up 11 of your 20 minutes. Question number 3, what qualities do you have that will make you an effective board member?
Frankly, the qualities that I've come forward with have been shaped by my work with school board members over 26 years. Over those 26 years, there were about 70 different people who came through the school board. And so I started out being a pretty good team builder and got those skills challenged by some people who were less committed to being on a team. So I come as somebody who's pretty good at being a team member. I don't need to be out in front of everything. I believe you need to be honest and you need to build relationships with the people you're working with. And I guess what, I'm not sure it's a quality, but a lot of the private practice, the consulting that I did was around strategic planning. And I would be interested in being a part of the process. I've looked at your strategic plans. I think you have nailed some critical ingredients in terms of what will move us forward as a community supporting public education. So what I know about you is what I've read. And I've read over the last 5 years, essentially everything that you have done, all of your notes, and in particular, the efforts to pass the bond issues. Yesterday, my wife and I drove up to Pass Creek because I really feel that as a school board member, you ought to know what the buildings are that you own. And I've never been to Pass Creek before, and you need to understand, I come from South Kingstown, Rhode Island, which was defined as a rural community. It was rural because it was 30 miles away from Providence, Rhode Island, an hour and a half from Boston, 2 hours from New York City. There was nothing rural about us. One of the things that was an advantage was because they said we were rural, we got to apply for rural funding from the federal government. That was pretty nice because we got some money in spite of the fact that there was no rural about us. All of our roads are paved. Everybody has immediate access to a 7-Eleven. I mean, these are so I bring a strategic planning approach to being on the school board. I think that the work that you do is about what the district will be like 10 years from now, at least 5 years from now. If you do that really well, this district won't be better than 50% of the school districts in Montana. It'll be better than 90% of the school districts in Montana. That ought to be your goal. You ought to be telling the community that this is where we're going. We are not gonna be better than most. We're gonna be in the top 10%. And our kids are gonna benefit from that, because ultimately that's what you're about. You're about the advantaging of your children.
We have 5 minutes left. Question number 4. What do you think is the biggest issue facing our district this year and over the next 5 years?
In short, I think you need to get the bond issues passed. If not, we will be in trouble. And I think that that's true not just in terms of what happens to public education, but as somebody who lives here, it's gonna kill my property value. When you don't pass bond issues, it's bad for everybody. So that I see as the most immediate challenge. The 5-year challenge really is the implementation of your strategic plan. How do you get that done and how do you measure yourself against the goals we've set? And I'll give you a shorter answer to that one.
Question number 6. What do you know about us as a board?
Only what you've said about yourself. I think I've looked, because out of curiosity, I wanted to know about the community. And school boards are about as clear a representation of how the community's functioning as anything. So I've looked at what you said about yourself and about the district, and I've gotten to see how you work with one. And honestly, how you treat the superintendent, because that often is a pretty good barometer of how things are going.
Question number 6. How much time do you have to contribute?
Before I retired, I worked 2 jobs for 50 years. And then I was on a school board, which means I worked 3 jobs. And my view is that being on a school board is a job. It's just not a well-paid job. And my approach to being on a school board, I come as a faculty person, so I'm a reader and I study things. And frankly, I have 24 hours a day. And that's my approach. My approach is I work until the job is done, and if you're on a school board, the job is never done.
Question number 7. How have you previously involved yourself in the Belgrade School District and Belgrade community?
I have not, and that's not the asset that I bring. I bring expertise and experience. But what I have tried to do is to understand the community that I've adopted. And I've done that, I think, pretty well. I think I know the Belgrade community, but I have not presented myself as somebody in your schools. And so if that is a critical ingredient in the selection process, don't pick me. That's not what I have been able to do thus far.
And our last question, do you have any questions for us?
I have endless questions.
You only have 45 seconds.
I think that, the questions that I have for you are the questions that would be answered if you decide to select me.
Okay.
Thank you for the time.
You bet, thank you. You finished with 25 seconds left. Just 1 second here, Jordan.
Thank you very much.
Do you mind if I steal a little water?
No, you,
No, that's what we got.
you can have it. All right, Jordan, thanks for being flexible with me. We're about 45 minutes ahead, so. I wasn't expecting this.
I'm a few minutes behind.
Usually I take up all of the long time. This is a new experience for everybody. All right, is everyone ready?
Yes.
Yes. Jordan wasn't here when we started, so we should go around and just introduce ourselves briefly and just say how long we've been on the board.
I'm Frank Stock, I've been on the board for 8 years.
I'm Joanne Nordhagen, and this is my second year on the board.
Walter Zay, I'm about 3 months in.
Same for me, I'm glad here, we will both be sitting.
My name's Rocky Smith. I've been on the board for about 3 years.
And Steve Garber, I've been on here 7 years. And just wanted to tell you, like I told everybody, it's important for you to be honest and forthcoming in answering the questions we ask. It'll help us make a good fit. So speak freely. And we have 20 minutes. So let's begin. Question number 1, tell us about yourself, including your connection to the district and what you do for a living.
So my name is Jordan Crone. My family and I moved here about 5 years ago from Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Had the opportunity to come up here as a active duty Army service member to work at Montana State University. So that's actually what I do now. I'm a ROTC instructor with the university. I'll be retiring in November. November 30th is my last day active duty after 20 plus years. So that's exciting. Connection to the district. I got 3 kids that, are in Ridgeview. I got 1 kid in Ridgeview. My daughter goes there, and then I have 2 boys in the middle school. My wife also teaches at the middle school. And for a living, I'm an active duty service member for the next few years. Sorry.
Can't believe you're from Kentucky. I never would have guessed. I have to ask that to everybody. Question number 2. Why are you interested in being a trustee?
So, just with my lifestyle, with my career and everything, I've never had, this is the longest we've ever stayed in one place. My dad was also in the military as well. So just being able to be a part of the community for more than, 2.5, 3 years at a time has been awesome. That's kind of why I want to serve on the board. I have kids that go to school here. I know a lot of kids in the district, interact with a lot of them through various things. And I just feel like something I can do to help is, be a part of the board and help, make their lives better at school and, help provide them with better education.
You're doing fine, Joanne. Oh, just notice how close you write. I should get you some glasses.
One contact on your side and one on our side and the other can't.
Good. Question number 3, what qualities do you have that will make you an effective board member?
So, just, with my career and who I am, I have a strong sense of integrity. I'm very good at teamwork, collaborative work, that kind of stuff. I'm very honest about things, and I think I'm a really good communicator. My wife might disagree. House, it's a different thing, but I think I have really good communication skills. And like I said, I'm a really good team player. I feel like.
Question number 4, what do you think is the biggest issue facing our district this year and over the next 5 years?
So this year, okay. I think is just the growth in the valley, like since we've been here. The amount of neighborhoods and subdivisions that I've seen pop up since we've been here 5 years is crazy. So I think that the growth in the valley is probably one of the biggest issues facing the district right now. I know there's been talks about, putting up another school, and to me, it sounds like just so we can house more kids in the school and not have, so many kids in the classroom. For the next 5 years, it really doesn't seem like that's slowing down. And I don't want to piggyback off what everybody's saying too, but I'm a voter in this district too. And I think the levy is also kind of an issue and trying to get those things passed. That will probably be a problem within the next 5 years, I would imagine.
Question number 5, what do you know about us as a board?
So the only thing I really know about the board per se, I've never sat on the school board. My understanding is that you guys, help set policy, and kind of set the direction that we want the district to go in, vote on budgets and those kinds of things. I know you all are not in charge of, let's say like teachers or wherever, like, and what they do, that's more of an administration side of the thing. But that's my basic knowledge of what the board does.
Question number 6, how much time do you have to contribute?
I have a lot of time. I'm very much however much time it takes to get a job done. Like I said, I'm retiring in November. I still have to get another job when I retire. I have a lot of options right now, so I'm not really in a hurry to get another job. But yeah, I've got plenty of time.
Question number 7, how have you previously involved yourself in the Belgrade School District and Belgrade community?
So since we moved here in 2020, I coach baseball. I've coached 2 teams in Belgrade Youth Baseball for the past 4 or 5 years. I also serve on that board. I've served on that board now. I think this is going on my 3rd or 4th year coming up. 3rd year coming up. Also no 4th year coming up. Time flies. But so I do that, which I really enjoy. I also coach football in the fall. Not with the high school, but league football with the Lions Club stuff. Also, I started last spring. I had a lot of time from my current job right now. I had some free time and I was able to do some substitute teaching, which was kind of going out on a limb for me. Even though throughout my career I've kind of been a teacher, instructor almost the whole time, as far as teaching your younger subordinate soldiers certain things and coaching them and mentoring them. So getting in the classroom with 6th, 7th, 8th graders is a little bit different for me. I've not made the jump into elementary school yet. I don't think I'm ready for that. Lots of people have asked me. I'm like, nah, I don't think I'm going to do that, but I do enjoy that. I've gotten to get familiar with some other kids that I don't really see as much at sporting events or other things. And I see, there's a lot of potential in our district with these kids, and I think they deserve the best. So I think I try to give them that when I substitute teach anytime I'm around them.
And our final question, do you have any questions for us?
I do not.
Okay. So that concludes our process. Thanks for being flexible with me, Jordan.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for your service.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
I appreciate everybody being flexible. We really flew through these things tonight.
Is that my last one?
Yep.
Yeah.
So now we've reached the point, does anybody, you need to take five or
Yeah.
just need to stretch?
I just moved over, I could see people that.
Okay, yeah, let's take five, and then what we will do is, think about anything you want to discuss about any of these candidates. Remember, it's a public forum. Once we're done with that, we'll, bring it to a vote. And just so you think about it, your candidates will be ranked from 1 to 5. 1 is your most preferable candidate with the least amount of points would be elected, so consider that while you're stretching.
We're gonna talk about it.
Yes, beforehand, obviously.
Lisa, is that better?
I'll explain it. That's what I'm gonna explain twice. There was some confusion about this. Actually learning. Realize it was possible.
First truck.
So
So you're probably from Kentucky?
Oh.
Don't use a math person with numbers, Steve.
I was having a problem with all, I really did that, one there.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah,
Anything like angry.
well, in my second time doing this, so I have a hard time explaining how it works. Okay, is everybody ready? So I presented a sheet to all the board members next to Carrie. And we will rank our 5 candidates from 1 to 5. For public record, we'll read out our rankings out loud. Edie and I will tally these as we go, so that's how it's gonna work. I don't know if we should just open this up. There's no public comment on any of this from this point forward. Sorry. I tend to be too flexible, so I
You actually
figured
gonna enforce that tonight?
yeah, as I said, I'm pretty flexible, but yeah, I was out of the realm of public comment. How would the board like me to proceed? Would you like to go through each one at a time, or is there anything general you'd like to say about any candidates?
I mean, we have fabulous candidates, every one of them could be in this board, it's hard to rank.
Does anyone have any clarification questions they would like to ask the board in general about any of the candidates, points they would like to make?
Trying to wrap thoughts.
Yeah.
I got some. And I'm not letting you be quiet.
It's, I'm sorry.
They all did a great job.
Yeah.
Tell us who they were and, what their experiences were.
Bring a lot of different things to the table.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I think we do well as a board is we're lack of better, we're very diverse. We have a lot of industries represented here and it helps us make good decisions. I appreciate everybody else coming out here. Just your different life experiences could all contribute to us very well. I have to say that Mr. Mueller's credentials are very impressive.
Yeah.
Yes.
And given what we're facing in the future, I do believe having somebody with that background is going to benefit not only us as a board, but our community. Because I do think one of the things that I kept looking forward to is the things that we've talked about. How do we engage our community? How do we engage our community for our bonds? How do we engage our community for our levies? How do we engage our community? I mean, Walt and I had an accidental conversation. What we were saying, Walt, how do we engage our community? How do we get what was the term you used? That spirit, that pride.
Development community pride, yeah.
You know, Stephen mentioned that, and like, that's a he faced, and you know, how we engage that and being part of the community and reaching out to the community. I know that's something we've all talked about. You know, every one of these candidates to me, I'm like, wow, they offer so much, but I can't help but going back to, you know, that knowledge is valuable. And that, you know, tribal knowledge, as it were, is so valuable, and it's very interesting from a different state and school board perspective, especially somebody who's been on that like higher, that called the like the National School Board Association, which, you know, we work with our school board association for our state. We work with the National School Board, that's where we get our policies, that's where we do so much. Those things were very large for me.
Then, you know, I look at it as the investment in the community and the investment in our schools and how somebody's got roots planted here, I guess. I don't look at the school board as the place to, you know, start planting the roots. It's a place that, you know, you move into, you know, once you've got some investment in the community. In terms of, you know, I hate to say what else have you done before you came to the school board, but what else have you done before you've come to the school board, you know, to establish yourself as a leader and decision policymaker in this community.
I did like what Callie said about the most important thing facing us in the next 5 years was the vote. I think all the candidates alluded to that. She was the first to point it out.
What does that seem?
Oh, just, she alluded that one of the most important things we had to worry about or deal with in the next 5 years was the vote, public perception and getting our bonds and letting us pass them.
Yeah, I think her and Stephen
Both.
and both really highlighted with that was kind of the biggest thing, like the finance, the bond issue. But I really like when Stephen said, you know, finance is a leading indicator, because I keep looking at our community, we've seen unprecedented growth. And now we've got to try to catch up on those finances throughout the United States.
Yeah, I mean, it's. One of the problems we have is. It's more expensive than it was the last time we looked at it. And the thing when we can't get this passed, will be even more expensive the next time we look at it. Significant more expensive. And I think, we may also see that there's a little more, there are a few more people in our school now since, the last week or so. I think there was a very substantial change in the numbers, not,
I don't know, I haven't seen them.
I just heard that we had 30 kids in the high school. And
We've had some additions, yeah.
well, that's good. Those are indications that things we already have.
Yeah.
I do, the one comment that was made, I think it's a really good comment, that we focus on where we rank, you know, and not so much about, I mean, I usually say it this way, and it's probably not the right way to say it, is we need to know where we're at, and we need to know what we need to do to move ourselves in the right direction. But I think the other thing, which is a little more positive commentary, is our goal is to be at the top of this.
90th or top,
Right.
top 10.
Yeah.
90 percentile or people.
Which candidate mentioned that?
No, it's Mr. Gilden.
So I just think that's kind of a little more aspirational than to say we're gonna adjust this, but you know, I don't know if it's gets us there any quicker doing what the other talking about the way. I think it's more of a dialogue that we're having with the community about what the aspirations are. Maybe that's in some cases as important as it is where you actually end up, how you actually end up getting there.
Yeah.
So anyway.
The strategic planning part made me think a lot about you talking about, okay, how can we, what are our, you know, what are these goals, how are they measured, how do we measure them? You know, what is our measurable leaps, what are the data?
The other thing here, I think that's important for us as a board is to think, you know. The board's 7 members, there's 6 members now, we're gonna have to add 1 more. For us, I think it's important that we look at what our skill sets are collectively and where we could use additional, you know, who's gonna be the best addition to the group of 6 that we have. I'm not saying necessarily it's the best, maybe not exactly the best person as much as it is who's most complimentary of the group that we have that would be, you know, make us better as a board.
I think that's why, like, you know, Walt mentioned, you know, the roots in Bozeman is less important to me because so many of us have deep roots in the area, and especially like Montanans tend to put that value very heavily, you know? Whereas like, I do think it's for me, even though as a born and raised Montanan, it's less like about, you know, like I look at Jordan, for instance, and his roots, you know, aren't very deep here either. He's got a set of values that would be beneficial, or Stephen, his roots aren't super deep here, you know, but what he brings to, you know, as complementary to each one of us is the value that I'm feeling the same way. What is the gap that we have and how do we fill that hole?
Yeah.
It's going to benefit our district and our students.
Well, I think I'll speak to that a little bit. This is an exceptional group of candidates. Like, we would be blessed any year to have this group of people come forward and run. But someone's done multiple charter schools, coach that's on the baseball board in ROTC, someone 20 years in the community that's engaging young college kids that opening pathways. Person who has volunteered out of the gate since the day their kids to school, it seems very professional. I mean, we could hope for that, and any of them would fit in. I mean, we always have been since I've been on. We're a really diverse group of people that all pretty much have the interest of kids at heart, and that's kind of what makes us work. But I mean, if I look at the place we're at, and this kind of goes to what Rocky was saying that Drew Accord, in the last election, we lost what, 30, 40 years of education experience, and somebody's been on board for 4 terms and understands all the gears work, and Holly with 2 terms, and you guys are working hard and you're getting there. And we're just young, and that's good, but to have some institutional knowledge on how that all works is really, really a big deal. And I don't know, I'm trying to think about it, what's gonna make us work best in the future, not necessarily who I probably want to have a beer with after work all is, or we hang with on Saturdays, but who's gonna fill all the gaps we need. That makes a lot of sense to me. I think there's a chance here that seemed like it kind of serendipitous fell in our lap.
Yeah.
And I hate it when I turn away things that fall in my lap a year later. Oh, that. And so I think that's where I'm at. I don't know how I pick 2 through 5 on here. Right.
Yeah.
There's things about every person on there that are really would fit in here in any given year. I mean, God bless y'all, run again, please.
Yeah, I was gonna
But-
say, all these kids need to
But
run.
that's where I'm at. I don't know.
Keep doing it, keep doing it. It took me 2 times of interviewing and 2 elections to finally get here. Keep doing it, don't quit.
Yeah. It's the example for all.
The tribal knowledge is what kind of hit me right in the teeth, because that's like that, we don't know, and if we are a younger board, I mean, even though you were
I'm
Steve.
scared to death, and I'm a senior person on here. God, I'm scared.
You're an adult.
You're down, it's real deal.
We weren't gonna point out that you were the senior man on the board.
Already kind of.
Take your kind of defensive word talk.
We kind of got the senior head over here.
It's not the years, it's the miles, right? That's the years.
Still may be in a good place, honestly.
6 good, that's after she's going.
I wanted to kind of piggyback off what Frank said, like any of you would be a great fit. I think one of the good things about this board is we're not here because of any agenda. We really do have the district,
Babies.
and that's what we do first, all of our decisions for the kids in the administration. I don't think you'll find a finer board in the state, in my opinion, but we also expect a lot of our people. One of the reasons we've been able to accomplish a lot in a short period of time is because we do a lot. So, spread that word to everybody. Thank you for even considering the challenge.
Yeah.
This is not a situation where you just showed up and voted your day every month.
It's hard. It's hard.
Jordan, I wanted to thank you for being a substitute teacher. That carries a lot of weight.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would like to see you yell at the children military style.
Some of them have seen it, they haven't seen it in class, some of them wasn't sitting outside the classroom.
Have you subbed for our district or Bozeman or?
Yeah, here, just here.
I just want you to see make them stand at the.
All right, let's bring it back. Does anyone else have any other comments or clarifying points? Any eyes that you feel would need to be addressed? You could ask a question about a specific candidate, or are your rankings clear from 1 to 5?
Let's vote, and if we ever tie, we vote.
Yeah, so I think, I really don't think we're gonna have a problem, but if there was a tie, we would just bring it back, discuss this again and do the same thing. So,
Can you put my name on?
yeah, you do need to put your name on the form. This is public record and we will do it publicly. We'll read out our votes going around the room. And, if anybody wants to see the papers, they can, Dee Dee will have them after this, but this should suffice. Anybody have a recommendation on how we should start, less senior or more senior? As the senior ranking individual, you should get to pick.
I'll go first.
Frank will go first, we'll go in reverse seniority.
I have a thick skin here.
So just, if you would, just read down the list, Frank, and tell me your rankings, I'm gonna write them down. Samantha,
4,
Marie,
5,
hang on, pen problem.
I would be better cousins.
Jordan? You. Callie?
3,
Stephen?
1.
That leaves me. I have Samantha ranked number 4, Marie 5, Jordan 3, Callie 2, and Stephen 1. Joanne,
I have Samantha
wait 1 sec. Okay, Samantha, sorry.
4.
Yep.
Marie 5. Jordan 3. Callie 2. Stephen 1.
Well,
Samantha 3, Marie 1, Jordan 2, Callie 4, Stephen 5.
Violet,
Samantha 4, Marie 5, Jordan 3, Callie 1, Stephen 2.
Rocky,
Samantha 4, Marie 3, Jordan 5, Callie 1, Stephen 2.
give me 1 second while I tally these up. I should have created a spreadsheet. All right, we do have a clear winner. First votes, or the lowest number of points was Stephen with 12. Second was Callie with 13. Third was Jordan with 18. Fourth was Samantha with 23, and fifth was Marie with 24. So we have elected Stephen. I'll have Dee Dee check these numbers real quick.
I can do it, I can match.
Yeah. Once we verify this, I'll make a we'll have someone make a motion.
There. That is correct.
So according to our voting records, someone would need to make a motion to nominate Stephen Mueller for the vacant board position on the Belgrade School District Board.
Let's see, do we have the thing on here, or do I just make the final motion?
Motion to, as long as it was trustee, to fill the position, vacant position. Oh. Like, either. Here, you can go, if you haven't followed it up.
I don't think the back of this thing printed out. Maybe that's what I'm missing.
I will make a motion to appoint, let me see, say his name right, Stephen Mueller as trustee to fill the vacant position on the board until May 2026.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Do you have any public comment on the motion? Comes back to the board, any board comment, or we proceed with the vote? Great candidates, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All in favor of approving Stephen Mueller for the vacant position on the Belgrade School Board District Board, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Congratulations, Stephen. And thank you all again.
Have it.
Yeah, we need it.
I had it.
Just, I would better forget about that.